Nigeria has taken a significant step toward hosting the 2030 Commonwealth Games, meeting the March 28, 2025 deadline rather, to express interest in bidding process. The announcement came following an executive committee meeting of Nigeria Olympic Committee on April 3rd, 2025 in Abuja. However, the country's former bid hinged on securing approval from the federal government. Nigeria last hosted a major multi-sport event, came in 2003 with the African Games, and then in Abuja, an event that demonstrated the nation's organizational prowess. Building on that foundation, the NOC believes Nigeria is well positioned to manage the logistics, hospitality, and infrastructural demands of the Commonwealth Game. The NOC also sees the game as a unifying force, promoting national pride and celebrating Nigeria's cultural diversity. It will inspire a new generation of athletes and position Nigeria as a nation that values athletics achievement. Nezianya added, highlighting the potentials to motivate young talent and elevate the country's sports profile. All right. It is no longer news that Nigeria is bidding to host the 2030 Commonwealth Game. This is a major sporting event. But beyond the bidding process, do we actually have the necessary facilities on ground to make it happen?
These facilities can be built if you talk about facilities. The question is, do we have what it takes to host the tournament, security-wise, logistics, providing the best facilities in terms of hotel, accommodations, and the rest of them? Not that we don't have 5-star hotel, but the question is, do we really have, even after building the facilities, maintenance culture happens to be an issue for Nigeria. We have facilities that are decayed, that possibly, if revived, will be used for this game. But at the end of the day, after the game, what do? We go over to our normal way of life, allowing the sporting facilities to decay. Imagine if you go to Adoke Amesimaka Stadium in Port Harcourt here, you'll be marveled of what is happening. You'll be marveled of what is happening. Nothing is good. Nothing good is to be told about the stadium, because everywhere is decaying, and we kept building buildings that we can't even maintain, buildings that we can't even keep. We should try as much as possible to build structures that will maintain. At the end of the day, it will be used for other sporting activities. It will be used to harness talent, as I rightly said. It will be used. It will also help in propelling people who has ambition of competing in the area of various sporting activities, football, track and field event, and the rest of them. So building for the hosting of the Commonwealth game is not bad, but how are we going to sustain the facilities after the game? That will be the question. If we are to build today, definitely the federal government through the Sports Commission will come in and build the facilities needed. But after the competition, are we going to keep these facilities running, or are we going to allow it decay like others?
You talk about the federal government, maintenance culture, and all of that. And now, it is not a problem for we to build a new facility and all of that. But if you take a look at the depth that Nigeria as a country has right now, do you think that the federal government will support this bid of hosting the rest of the world come 2030? Because it's capital intensive and we are owing a whole lot of debt. Do you see President Ahmed Tinubu coughing out maybe big amount of money to support this National Sport Commission?
You just say capital intensive. Have you looked at the other possibilities of Nigeria generating revenue from it? That is what I'm talking about. If we are sincere enough to actually give a proper account of what is being accrued from the competition, you see that at the end of the day we are not going to lose, because because so many persons will come to Nigeria, so many persons will lodge in the hotel, food and drinks will be sold to them, every other activities will go on. Some of them will even explore Nigeria, and after the competition it give an opening to persons to say, oh, the Nigeria they were condemning wasn't even as bad as people were saying.
True.
So I can actually go in for tourist visit.
True.
I can go in for business investment. I can go in to do other things. These are the openings the federal government need to rewrite the story being told by unscrupulous persons who said Nigeria is not a safe haven, Nigeria is this, that. So we need this avenue to rewrite that story. And if the president, in the person of His Excellency President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, I believe in his capacity. He will look at it thoroughly, scrutinize, and bring into bearing what that competition will do for Nigeria and what we will stand to gain from that competition in terms of exposing our tourist base inside of the economic boost and so many other places, and even, you know, mingling with international athletes help in growing other local athletes. It will give them the morale that, or the confidence that I was in a competition with so athlete. So if I work harder, I will even be greater than this athlete. And it will also give them it will be a morale booster for them. So the president will not say no to such. If Nigeria has what it takes, and if Nigeria has the resources available to build new facilities, because as I said earlier, facilities will be our major undoing. It will, because the ones we have are not being maintained, and the ones we have are not even in proper use. If you go to Tesla Balogun Stadium in Lagos, I think the sports the Nigerian sports the national stadium in Lagos is not Surulere. You will see that we are lacking maintenance culture. The Maracana Stadium in Brazil is almost as old as, even older than the Surulere Lagos, but the Maracana Stadium is still being maintained, kept in place, and it's a national honor. Why are we lacking behind maintenance culture? The Surulere Stadium has been kept in comatose. Nobody is talking about it. Maybe they want to host something there. You now see emergency repair, renovation, ongoing, done, and we are good at it. Then after then, what next? So we need to be consistent. We need to bring into bearing our maintenance culture, change that narrative of African mentality, change that narrative of African time. You know, go to Abuja Stadium. It's only when Super Eagles has an engagement there, you see them running around to put it in place. You see them running around to maintain it. What happened to the Abuja Metropolis? To look into the stadium and always put it in place. What happened to the Lagos government and possibly those people in charge of the stadium? That is why we are talking about individuals coming into funding, investors coming into funding of sporting activities in Nigeria. It will help in growing the game. It will help in propelling athletes to understand that their welfare is guaranteed, not just hosting.
Of course, a lot in terms of maintenance culture as Nigeria bid to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games. A lot is at stake of us. We talk about the timing. Is it not too short a time for we to host the 2030 Commonwealth Games? You know, because if we truly want to host and win, then we must prepare massively. You know, 5 years, I think for me, that may be too short, because we need to put finishing touches to some of the infrastructures we have on ground. You still talk about training and grooming, conditioning, athlete that is going to take part. A lot comes with it. But we'll keep our fingers crossed, hoping to see how that very one pounds are. But